Hello, I'm Dr. Kill, a relation to Dr. Doom.
And I'm Suspicious Dish.
And we're here to show you how to play Ocarina of Time. Not quite right. So,
I assume most of this is intended, right? Why else would we be able to do it?
Probably most of it.
Yeah.
So, last episode we left off with Furore's Wind on Bee.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you what this is for, and my guest here, Dish, should know what it is for, because I believe he's more than the guests I've had so far. He knows quite a bit about this game, I think, right?
I actually never beat it, so I don't know what to say to that. But yeah.
You know about the glitches.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely one of those guys who I never beat it as a kid, but I know basically, or I like to think I know a lot about the random glitches in this game, and I discover a few of them, so it should be fun.
Right. So right now you already know that I'm going to use Furore's Wind on Bee for something pretty specific. You want to explain, because I know you mentioned you've done Ganonless speedruns. You want to explain, what that is or what that was?
Real
quick.
So Furore's Wind on Bee, by the way, has the awesome trick name, which I love, called the Windy Bee. I don't know why I like it so much. I just think it's a cool name, as opposed to, hyper extended super slide, which is super boring and technical. It's just Windy Bee. It's fun. It's a cool thing to say. Anyway. It, allows you to just warp to random shit and do random things that nobody expected you to do, because you're not supposed to be able to use Furore's Wind, whatever she called it, outside of dungeon rooms.
Right. So having it on B lets you use it wherever you can use the sword, normally.
Yeah.
So that's what causes that. So that's what I'm doing here. I got it on B so that I could set it outside of Link's house, right here. And then from here, what I'll be doing... So the speedrun I mentioned, Ganonless, uses this trick to warp into the credits, actually. It skips the boss, which is why it's called Ganonless. They use it to skip directly into the credits, since they work pretty similar to the rest of the game. They're sort of an own entrance point, right? Within the game engine. So it's like its own room or its own entrance to the credits. And that's an old version of the speedrun that was only relevant for, I think, a couple of months, maybe?
I believe it was... So Ganonless, I believe, was found mid-February of 2013, which is when I was involved in the speedrunning community. Mm-hmm. And then I believe Ganondorf, which was the new one, was found, I believe, July? It was something like that. All I remember is that...
Yeah, so not too long.
Yeah, it wasn't too long. This game got really wacky after we discovered wrong warping and all the wacky things you can do with it.
Yeah, and over the years, they've been sort of finding out more and more of the things you could do. Just by looking at the game code, just regular experimenting, just a lot of different stuff.
Yep.
So what I'm going to be doing, how the trick works is, I've mentioned that wrong warps work by sort of changing the base location that the blue warps normally take you to. I've shown it off by dying, which takes you to the beginning of the dungeon.
Yep.
And then I've also mentioned that you could actually just leave the boss room in certain cases, and that puts it to the entrance coming out of the boss room, which is a different entrance. And so what Furore's Wind allows you to do is set that base location to almost any location in the game.
Yep.
And by using the relative cutscene modifier that I've sort of mentioned a couple times, it'll shift from that base location into a different point of the game, like the entrance addresses and stuff. So it lets you get into cutscenes in places you're not normally supposed to get to.
Exactly.
Even more than just like dying does. So all I have to do is, after I have Furore's Wind on B and after I set it, I press it right when I step into the blue orb. And so right now it's actually going on right now, and I have the Furore's Wind box up. At a certain point, I click return to, or not click, but press return, and I enter a cutscene. Obviously not the right cutscene. And you could tell what cutscene it is, right?
Is it supposed to be this creepy? I don't remember it being this creepy as a kid.
No, this is a very weird map, actually. So it's a serious song cutscene, but it's not a proper Sacred Forest Meadow scene. I'll show you specifically why it is, in a little bit, but obviously you can see she's in the stump. That's not supposed to happen. Her model's not in the right spot. There's a couple of other things here, but it's not like...
I mean, the fact that Link is an adult and she is 12 is also sort of creepy.
Oh, that too, yes, of course.
Would you like to play the Ocarina with me? No.
Well, but
not really.
But of course, adult Link's been hanging out with Kid Saria a little bit already. She gave me the Fairy Ocarina way back in episode 3. So
yeah, I think she likes you.
So really funny, and like I said, it's not it's not the typical.
Please, camera, move up a little bit.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's not the typical scene either. She's not in the right spot, and actually, if you were to leave out towards the Lost Woods, you would skip the entire Lost Woods and come out of Kokiri Forest.
Huh.
It's really weird. And there's one other weird thing about this, and is that once the cutscene is over, after I've learned it,
pan up. There. No.
it starts again. I sped it up. That's not the game, but it starts again for whatever reason. This particular map has the serious song trigger twice.
Okay, and I assume this is just a random unused beta layout or whatever?
Maybe. Something like that. It still gives you serious song. It's in my inventory now.
Alright.
So it's, I don't know, I suppose the game understands me to have serious song in some fashion, so it's more a philosophical thing if it really counts as serious song.
It does. I'm gonna be your philosopher tonight and just say it does.
Alright. That makes things easier. Okay, so I can make it, so the Forest Temple loading zone is still here. I can walk in just fine. Another thing about that, the scene we were just in, is that it's a child scene, so the minuet doesn't the minuet doesn't occur, which I don't have that yet, so it should happen. So it didn't, but I still want the minuet, so I'm actually going to get it right now. And right now I'm just lowering my health a bunch. A bit slow, but all I'm doing is every time you take out the ocarina during an explosion, you can actually get hit by the explosion again. Just a way to lower health. Usually the fastest way. Unless you're like around an iron knuckle or something.
I mean, why didn't you just like not get any of the heart pieces or anything? Come on,
I need the hearts
Isn't
for
this
later.
a challenge run?
I need the hearts for later. So all I do is I position myself just right. I die basically as I exit the Forest Temple, and then I skip the cutscene by dying right as I enter. It looks really funny, and it was just a way to show that you can skip cutscenes from other direction, I suppose.
Yeah.
Coming out of something. Unfortunately, that skip doesn't work for the Requiem. I don't know why. The trigger for that song is just different, so you have to watch that cutscene.
I figured it's the only one you're supposed to like go in and then out of for the scene.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go into the temple and then exit, which is like not really the case for any other. So I think they might have just programmed that exit so that it's the first time you leave the temple you get it.
Yeah, something like that. I can only assume. Because I think what happens, I haven't tried it, if you do have 0 health going in, the cutscene just happens, and then you die after it happens. So, yeah, so it's just really strange. But for the minuet, yeah, you could just come out of the Forest Temple and get it. And you could also kill yourself walking into the meadow, right at the top. It's pretty standard.
I also noticed that you re-equipped your sword again.
Yeah, so I'm done with Aurora's Wind. It's a really cool trick, but you only get actually a limited number of uses, because you can only... For wrong warping, you can only use Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, Fire Temple.
Right.
So I've used up Dodongo's Cavern
once, right? That's how it works. Once you like use a wrong warp, you can't do it forever.
Yeah, you can't use that dungeon again.
Yeah.
Now, the Deku Tree and the Dodongo's Cavern, because of the way the programming works, for Aurora's Wind warps, they'll always take you to the same spot, like both of those dungeons. So if I had done Deku Tree instead of Dodongo's Cavern, it would have taken me to the same cutscene.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm done with it for now. Real cool trick, but I don't need it anymore. So I just put my sword back on, which I actually need, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of Lon Lon Ranch.
Oh yeah.
This is a trick I think maybe a lot of people might know. So you're supposed to leave with Epona by jumping over a fence, but the loading zone is always there no matter what. So the game assumes as long as you hit it with Epona, even if you didn't have Epona, like which one I'm about to do. I just hover out and hit the loading zone over the fence.
Fun fact, did you know this cutscene is actually, there's 4 of them in the game for all 4 cardinal directions that you can jump over fences with?
I knew there were 3, but I actually didn't know until recently you could jump over the front fence when it comes up. Because that's never there when I do this trick, because that only happens after you race, I think.
Yep, the guy locks you in.
Yeah.
I always, I know that there's, it's a divide, every single time I see somebody play this game, you can jump over the front fence, or, oh my god, you can jump over the not front fence,
I only knew about it because of the Fairy Fortune's blind one, because that's what she used. I was like, whoa, I've never seen that before, because you basically, in the game, you try to never see that. Yeah. Never be in that situation. So. Oh, but what I'm doing right now, I'm actually setting up for a glitch called Ash Chest, which is actually a very descriptive name. It's if it works, but we won't see its effects until I do some setup. But what I'm here for right now, actually, is to become swordless.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. This isn't typically part of Ash Chest, but with some new stuff, I can use it for something. And the fastest way for me to become swordless is, well, the reason why I planted this bean here is to get to the fishing pond.
Okay, so you're gonna become Swordless Link, or you're gonna become ZFG and Cosmo next, or...
I don't know if anyone's gonna...
Nobody's gonna get
those
those
people are.
speedrun hot references, the epic meme Reddit upvotes.
Yeah. Swordless Link actually did do a Let's Play, not like this. He did all the dungeons as an adult. Mine's a little different, but... Anyway, so what I'm doing here, if you dive, and right when you pop back up and you cast the fishing rod, you actually can move around while you're in the fishing state. And you can just walk out the door this way, which is never supposed to be something you can do.
Wait, really? I thought you were on Virtual Console. Didn't they patch us out of that one, or...?
No, there's various ways they've patched getting it, but you can do that specific method in all versions.
Okay.
There was an easier way with hover boots that they patched out for 1.0.
Okay.
So once I have the fishing rod, if I get in water and then pause while in the water, actually it makes you swordless. You lose a thing on B. It's already there. Now, being swordless causes a lot of weird stuff.
There's really no way to describe it. It's just sort of magic happens. And
I'll never be able to explain why it works, but I can explain what happens. Being on Epona while swordless means you can use any C button while on her. So right now I'll use the Ocarina and I just pop off of Epona. And it still thinks you're on Epona, sort of, so I'm actually moving both of them at the same time. Very, very strange glitch. So just because you use an item on Epona, it doesn't understand what to do, and so it gets in this weird state. And what I'm actually doing right now...
What happens if you hit the faster button?
You just warp back to Epona like that.
Oh, cool.
So what I did right there actually is I hook-shotted the fence while I warped back at the same time. And
this was just to break those things?
This is just to store the hook-shot velocity. What happens when I get off Epona, I shoot into the sky. This is actually the same glitches that I used in Dodongo's Cavern, sort of. It's a different way to get it.
Ah, interesting. That's something I had no idea about. That's wacky.
Yeah, it's fun, but again, it wasn't very useful for anything. This wasn't part of the trick I'm setting up. I just wanted to show it off. It's a very...
You're not going to get the heart piece up there? Man.
No, I tried. I tried to land into it, and I couldn't... I could have went up the ladder, I guess, but I actually really tried to land in that. You can do it, but it's really hard to control how you go with that trick. Because it's not like I set up for it. I just kind of winged it. So, being swordless, pretty important for the trick that's going to happen. But for now, the first part of the trick Ash says is something a couple of people might know about, and I've sort of referenced it before. I have a glitch quiver, and having a glitch quiver or having no quiver when you do quiver upgrade minigames, it sort of screws up the game.
Do you want to remind people how you got the glitch quiver? Because I actually don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I RB8 it. Kojiro, if you RB8 Kojiro, you get a bomb bag. But depending on how you RB, you can get a messed up quiver.
Okay.
Or you can get... Actually, I don't know if you can RBA no quiver, but if you don't have a quiver, that also causes problems too.
Okay.
So, right now I actually have a bomb bag 30 in my quiver slot.
Got it.
Holds 20 arrows, but the game doesn't really understand it to be a quiver, for upgrades anyways. So I'm actually going to be using that to get some interesting stuff going on. This is just me doing trade item stuff. I'll be doing a little bit more of this later.
That guy really wanted that sword, or saw. He talks about his wife missing it. I always wondered if that was I'm gonna murder my wife with a poacher saw. No. That's a good idea.
No, it's sad.
This game's pretty messed up for a kid's game, am I right?
Pretty dark. Funny thing about that saw, if you have it as a child, you can just show it to him. He's just in Kakariko and you show it to him, he'll still give you the Goron sword, the broken one. So he always understands it to be something he can take even as a kid.
Even 7 years pass, he knows that murder is still an option.
He's been planning it for 7 whole years.
If only he had a saw. Wow, that's the one stopping mechanism. Link is an enabler.
Oh, man, I can't trust this Link. No wonder Ganondorf took over.
It's probably for the better, not gonna lie. I mean, if you see what happens when he wins, the timeline splits in 3. That's just irresponsible.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to make a couple quick notes. I skip over the heart piece. I didn't need to show it. So I'm on the quiver section right now. Actually, because I'm swordless, I can't use the B button to shoot arrows. So I had to actually equip arrows onto my C button. I'm shooting with my C button right now. which isn't supposed to be something you do. It's actually, it makes it like weirdly harder. I'm so used to pressing B here that I'm not used to.
If you press like B, would the game just crash?
No, it just doesn't do anything.
Are those pots always... Have they always been so scaled on the y-axis? They were just oddly tall.
I think so. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, but here it is. I'm supposed to get the quiver, but it doesn't. I don't have the standard quiver, so it doesn't know what to do. But I'm in this weird state where it looks like nothing's happening, but if you look at my A button, it says open. And if I press it, I open up a chest right near her butt. So that's why they call it Ash Chest. Very, very clear name. And I get the spooky mask out of it.
Wow, too spooky 5 me.
Yeah. And if you notice, I actually have it on my C button right now. And that was a whole other glitch that I just sort of did at the same time. Because of the way it updates trade items, it'll replace what you had before with the trade item. It's weird. So that weird. You can keep opening the chest. But what I'm saying is, I had a bottle on my child slot before, and it updates that bottle to the spooky mask. But while it does that, it checks your C buttons to see if you have the previous thing you had there, and then updates that too. So because of that, I just put a different empty bottle on my C button, and it updated that into the spooky mask. Which lets you have it as an
what
adult.
does the spooky mask actually do? I forget.
It's for mask trading. I can't actually put it on as an adult. Like I was pressing the button, and it made the sound, but it didn't put a model or anything.
Does it have any use as a child?
You just trade it for the mask trading. You get like stick and Deku Nut upgrades that way.
Okay, because I remember some of the masks having purposes, like the bunny hood, of course, but
well, again, the bunny hood you just trade in for money, and then it gets you other masks that you get that will let you get certain upgrades.
But I thought there were like some of them you could actually put on use for purposes, like the whatever.
One gives you a heart piece, but other than that, I don't know. I don't really.
Could be.
There's a couple things I'm not sure, but I think stall kids don't attack you for some masks.
Yeah. Gossip stones do something for some masks. They fly into space or whatever.
I'm not sure. But I'm doing the minigame again. But this time, right when I end, I actually use the Ocarina to get off of Hona. And I Sun Song, and that's actually going to put me back at the entrance to the Gerudo Fortress. But the sort of the minigame state is still going.
Okay.
So I needed to be swordless in order to do this, in order to play the Ocarina and get out. Or just to get off of Hona. There's a couple of ways to like unload the area, but the thing is I need to unload the area and then go back up there and get the item that I'm supposed to, that she should have granted me for winning. But what happens is it's the same glitch as what just happened for Spooky Mask, but because of me resetting the area, it sort of actually loads the game differently and I actually get a different item. It depends. When I walk into this area, the way the actors from the previous area unload actually will affect what item you get.
So you had to probably be facing that other direction or something?
No, I just have to... resetting the area does it for whatever reason, and now I get fire arrows.
Okay.
So, this was just me walking into Gerudo Valley, Gerudo Fortress, not doing anything and walking back up here. And that's a sort of a different actor layout than if I had started the minigame from up here. And that's what caused the items to be different. And it's very, I don't know, it was very strange. This was found pretty recently. And you can actually get other things besides the fire arrows and spooky mask. I'll actually be showing that off right now, I think. So, this is me having set it up again, but before I got fire arrows, basically. What I'm going to do, I'm going to actually change what actors are down here. Specifically by breaking 2 crates. So if I smash this crate, and then a different crate, that'll actually change the way the actors are loaded or unloaded. I'm not super sure on the details. But when I walk back up, the way those actors are unloaded will change. Will now result in a different item.
How many crates are there to break? How many permutations of items can you unhold?
I think you could get... There's only actually 8 different items you can get total from doing this. Just because of the way the code lines out.
Yeah.
Doing what I did, just breaking 2 crates, will give us the Goron sword. Or the Giant's knife, actually. So you can get the 30 stick upgrade and a gold scale with this. Some bombs. And the hook shot. Actually, not a lot of very useful items you can get from this, which is unfortunate. So.
But you got the fire arrows. That's cool.
Yeah. This is me just a couple other tries. Couldn't get it.
Nope. Denied. Failed.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we got the fire arrows in an unusual way. You can't actually get fire arrows as a child, so I just decided to get them in a weird way.
Wow, that Gwei.
Yeah, he got me.
He got you.
He got me. He gets me even better right here. It makes me land on this. It makes me land on this weird pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. I remember this place from Smash Brothers.
But all right. Actually, that's a really cool glitch. I wish there was more items you can get, but there's only eight different items you can get. Mm-hmm. If you get an item over your head, the way I did fire arrows, I think you can't keep doing the glitch. But if you open it out of a chest, you can keep doing it. I think. I'm not super sure. Because of the way it understands you getting items, chest is different from over your head.
Okay.
I believe opening a chest is like a negative value of having it over your head. It's very weird. I don't know. It's a signed byte that where the difference is negative and positive.
Yeah, it's just computer.
Yeah, very weird. So off screen, I went and got the prescription from the Big Goron using the broken Big Goron sword. I didn't feel the need to show it.
Yep.
What I'm doing right now, I'm getting. I'm gonna do a little bit more RBA. Starting from the prescription, when you start RBAing stuff, it goes past your inventory items and starts affecting dungeon stuff, dungeon flags. And what I'll be doing is getting maps and boss keys in a bunch of different dungeons. I also do RBA the Spooky Mask, just for funs, for shits and giggles.
What does it do?
It gives magic beans, so I have 20 magic beans now.
Cool.
Which is more than you'd ever need, more than you're supposed to be able to get.
Nice. So
I'll be getting maps and keys, and funnily enough, I'll be using the elemental arrows, and they actually work it's like very synergized. The fire arrows will give you fire temple stuff, the ice arrows will give you water temple stuff, and the light arrows will give you spirit temple stuff.
That makes too much sense for this game.
Yeah, this is a complete coincidence. There's no specific reason why those are tied. It just happened to be the way the code lined out. Very, very funny. So right now I just got the water temple boss key and the map.
Yep.
And then I just did that with the fire arrows too, so I got the fire temple map.
You can't get the compass or small keys, right?
You can't get the compass because of, again, it just sort of happens that way, but the bit that the compass sort of is on, you can't really RBA it. The combination of items just doesn't work out for you to be able to get it.
Something like you need half milk or whatever, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, the thing with the only thing with half milk is that the bit that gives you, separate from other stuff, is something you would need anyway to trigger half milk, so it's pretty much useless.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just RBA'd some stuff real quick, and now we're actually going to Zora's Domain. I showed this off in my bonus video, but I'm going to basically use the loading zone to Zora's Domain that normally you can't access as an adult. I'll be using basically a teleport slide. I try to pick up some grass when I super slide. When I let go of the super slide, it transports me back to the grass, but with the same vertical height. Yep. And I use hover boost to slide back and jump slash into the loading zone to Zora's Domain. I really like that glitch. It's really fun to do.
Yeah. It's just because the programmers never realized that Z is an option. They just assumed that, if you're holding on to stuff, let's just teleport you right back to where the grass is. I assume that's if you get hit while picking up something you're not supposed to, there was a bug or something. I'm let's just make it so that every single frame it teleports you back to where you pick things up. But they didn't actually program it or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds plausible. Uh-oh.
So we need to talk to King Zora, but he was frozen. So if I actually show a trade item in a certain way, it unfreezes him without having to use blue fire. It's hard to explain why this works, I'm not super sure, but if you walk towards him while he's unloaded so that he loads, and then bring up a text box while he comes into the camera range, I think it sort of triggers him melting. I don't know, it deloads the eye, so you just have to unload him and reload him again. And that's what I just did with the trade item.
Hold R.
I don't need, I have the prescription, so I just get the eyeball frog. Hold R is a glitch that lets you skip straight to the eyeball frog from any trade item, but it only works in version 1.0.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, because it's very useful actually being able to get the frog very quickly for a lot of different reasons. I actually have it right now for the timer.
Yeah. It's another one of my favorite trick names, which the community has literally named Hold R LOL. That's the name of it.
Because all you have to do is hold R while he's talking to you. It really is, that's all you have to do. He'll try to give you the Zora tunic and instead give you eyeball frog, and that's just because of how he sort of gives you items. It messes with the trigger for that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the few glitches that I actually like disassembled the code to figure out how it worked in this game. That was a long time ago.
They just call it hold R now without the LOL.
Really?
They've grown up a little bit, I suppose.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, I did all that so I could get the eyeball frog for the timer. I'm going to be using that timer for something. What I'm actually doing right now is going to the Deku tree. And I'll actually be finishing the Deku tree as an adult. And I need to do it before the timer runs out. So I'm on the clock right now.
Stealthy.
Super slide across. It's a bit of a tight trick, that one right there. But it's the fastest way in. And it looks super cool. Basically just got out of the level and then skipped the trigger for coming in, the loading part for coming in, because as an adult his mouth is closed, so I wouldn't be able to walk in.
Yeah.
Now, I've done most of the Deku tree already. I did it as a kid. But we're going to sort of assume that I haven't done that. There's actually a way to do the Deku tree as an adult without having to go through any of the webs. This is unfortunate. The big Baba actually hit me into a text box.
Should have swung your Deku, whatever, suits or whatever. I think, like, is it swinging your sword? Will that skip it too? There's some glitch where, like, if you just use an item on the exact same frame Navi talks to you, it, like, completely just skips that text.
Yeah, so for a lot of text boxes, the animation of pulling out your sword or pulling out a Deku stick or something will delay the text box. It works for that, but it also works for the owl. If you actually manage to constantly switch out taking your sword and stick without slashing either of them, you can skip owl texts.
Oh, the way I always thought is you just Z-target, like, anything he doesn't talk to either.
That works too, but specifically, since you had mentioned it, I wanted to mention you could do it.
Yeah, I didn't know that one. Fun.
So we're going to skip most of the Deku tree by getting onto this pillar in a certain angle, and when the pillar lowers, it actually shoves you through the ground. And I actually recoil off of the pillar.
Is that possible to do as a kid?
It is not, which is unfortunate, but because it lands you right into the boss room.
Wow!
Really cool. This one, again, was also recently found. Maybe in October or November, maybe. I'm not super sure. Really, it's fun to do, though. I really wish it worked as a kid, but I think as a kid, you don't get shoved through the floor or something. I don't remember. Or it's just, like, super hard to, like, hang off on the edge the way I did.
Could be. I just like that you have an express elevator in the boss. It's sort of interesting.
That I haven't what?
An express elevator.
Oh, yeah. So Goma's done already.
Yep.
You can one-cycle her pretty easily. I stab her once, and then Deku-nut her again to stun her while she's already stunned.
You also have the Sword of Evil's Bane, so...
That's true. It's very strong. It's entirely as strong as a Deku stick, so you know it's good. So you can do the same trick as a kid. You just use a Deku stick to get a power crouch stabs, so that you can kill her in 3 hits. And now we're going to be using that timer. So every time a timer hits 0, it tries to warp you back to where you got the item that triggered the timer. Eyeball Frog tries to warp you back to Zora's domain. The mushroom will warp you back to Lost Woods. And what we're doing is we're actually changing the base location again, the same way we did with Farore's Wind. But this time the base location is just wherever the timer is supposed to take you. So right now I'm basically wrong warping, but with the base location being where King Zora gives you the Eyeball Frog.
Okay.
And we're using the Deku tree just to show it off here. Actually, this won't be an official thing I'm doing as the LP. I'm actually going to save before the wrong warp triggers. And I'll show off the repercussions, but then I'll revert to the save beforehand. But I want to show off the wrong warp because it's pretty funny. So using the Eyeball Frog in the Deku tree will take you to a specific cutscene. And we'll see it in...
I'm hype.
So it takes you back right here into... I've learned the opponent song? Sideways? I don't know. You can see him back there real quickly. So Adult Link just being a weirdo around children again. Now the unfortunate thing about this cutscene is that you don't get opponent song from it. It says it, but it actually puts you in the cutscene right after you're supposed to get it. So I don't have it in my inventory. Which really sucks. There's no way to get opponent song as an adult, as far as I know. So I revert back to the save beforehand. But I wanted to show it off because it looks really silly.
Okay, in the alternate timeline here.
It's the alternate universe. I've still beat Goma though, so that still happened.
Alright. So we're like at Tingle's rosy-colored Rupee Land now, I think, in the official timeline?
I guess so.
Or Faces of Evil or one of those. I don't even know.
We're going to do a different sort of glitch than what we've been doing. I actually used Aurora's Wind to pop back to Link's house because the warp point was still there. It doesn't get overwritten when you use it to wrong warp. So it's just a little faster. And you could just use Aurora's Wind in dungeons, so I was just able to leave. What we're here for, actually, we're going to use a Skulltula for some cool stuff. So there's 2 Skulltulas in the Lost Woods as an adult. And the Lost Woods is a really cool area because of the way it loads each room. Because of the sort of, I guess, compactness of the way the rooms are laid out, you can actually duplicate stuff fairly easily. And we're going to be doing that with the Skulltula. You can actually do it with heart pieces too, with the Skull Kid, as a child. You can actually play him Serious Song multiple times for multiple heart pieces. But for now, what we're doing is we're going to use it for the Skulltula. You can hear it if you have the volume up for this, but it's up there, on that, I don't know, platform that you can't really see. What I'm gonna be doing, I need to get basically out of bounds of the area. So I'm going to be doing a lot of hovers upwards. Right now, all I'm only doing is getting on top of the archway into this section of the game. And then after that, I'll be hovering straight up into the air and I'll jump out, basically out of the loading zone, or out of the entire area I'm in. But it won't have hit the part of the map that loads the next room, basically. So this room is still loaded while I'm outside of it.
Yeah.
And I actually will be hitting the trigger for this room multiple times.
That makes sense.
Out of bounds. So I get really high up.
You can have enough chews? Man, you're low.
Yeah. From here you just side hop and I'm out of... So the room is still loaded, basically. Yeah. But I'm past the trigger for it to load again, I suppose. And what's happening here is that every time I side hop to the right, it's loading up the actors for that room again.
Okay.
So, and again, the reason why this works is because there's a separate loading zone for coming into the room and then for leaving the room. And they're in 2 different spots, I suppose. So this is what lets you do this.
So where are you technically? Are you just in another room that isn't loaded?
Yeah, right. You know how you walk right into the archway? I'm just right at the entrance to that archway. Okay. So this tunnel here. And I'm just hopping back and forth between the loading trigger.
Got it.
So right now I've actually side hopped 30 times, so there are 30 Skulltulas. Well, actually side hopped less than that, but I've loaded 30 Skulltulas. And I just killed them all right now with a bomb shoe.
Alright.
I needed to do that because if I don't kill them, it makes it really laggy, and it could actually crash the game pretty easily. Based on my testing, the max I've ever been able to dupe safely on Virtual Console is about 40 Skulltulas. But that's also
Skulltulas.
Yeah, it's different in each version of the game though, and you can see how laggy it is right now.
Is that just because all of the tokens?
All the tokens, yeah, and it would be laggier if the Skulltulas are still alive. And N64, you probably couldn't get more than like 20. I don't know for sure. But on GameCube, using different tricks, you can duplicate 95 Skulltulas here. I don't know specifically why GameCube does better, but it does. But for now, I just duped 30. So you can see
it only shows the prompt once?
Yeah, it's as long as you grab them all at the same time.
Okay.
You can actually like hookshot each individual one if you wanted to, and it'll give you the text box each time.
Alright.
It's just really surprising. In GameCube, using a little more trickery, you can duplicate 95 gold Skulltulas, but you can't get all 100. It's just too much. It crashes the game.
Yeah, I guess the GameCube's just less afraid of spiders or something.
Yeah, I don't know. And I still haven't been able to find out if it's different if you actually play on a GameCube versus the Wii. I'm still not sure. It's kind of weird. But the GameCube disc lets you duplicate 95 gold Skulltulas. So that was just to show off that you can do it. You can duplicate, and those are the only Skulltulas I really plan on getting. And I have enough for the most important stuff.
I mean, that'll get you what? The Rumble Pack and what else?
The wallet. The big wallet. Other than that, there's just a heart piece and some shoes, but I don't really need that stuff.
That guy's... I love that sprite. It just...
The frog?
Yeah.
It's a cute little frog.
It's... I feel like they just ripped it from Super Mario 64. Like, it does not fit in this game at all.
A little bit. It's okay. They mash it into eye drops eventually. So
It's so hot in here.
So I still had the prescription because I basically saved and quit while having their frog. That reverts back to prescription. And what I did is I warped away, and normally that instantly voids out your timer object. But because I'm in a place that has a different timer, it sort of overrides it. What I'm actually doing is I'm trying to time it so that I void out at the same time the timer runs out. So it's at 1 second. That's what it was before, and I just void out right when it hits 0, and now I have an infinite timer. It'll never expire right now.
Huh. So what exactly does that... I mean, you could use the eyeball frog forever, but what does that give you?
Well, right now I'm setting up a really complicated glitch. Other uses it could have, I don't think you could do it in Virtual Console or 1.2, but there's a way to do this to be immune to regular timers. Like I would be able to walk around the Fire Temple in this area without having to wear the Goron tunic. There'd just be no timer.
Huh? But you can't do that here?
No. Right now I just need to have this timer always active.
Okay, but you have the Goron tunic? Oh yeah, that's right.
I do. So that's how I sort of triggered it. When you wear the regular tunic, the lava timer takes precedence over the frog timer.
Yeah, that's right.
So I use that to time when the timer ran out.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. No, I mean it doesn't, but sure, we'll go with it.
All right. That was me screwing up a glitch. I did a glitch called Time Stop, which I won't be using for anything, but it has a couple uses. I just won't be using it. And I just did it by accident because of the way I pressed the buttons. So yeah, what I want is...
The mini-map for this area looks like it's drawn by a 3-year-old. What is going on with that?
What does?
The mini-map.
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry.
So yeah, I just want the timer because I want that infinite timer. I want to control basically when it runs out. What happens is it actually stay like that until you hit a certain text box. I'm not totally sure on the details. I think what happens is that if you hit a text box with a blue square, which is like its own text box, it'll it'll finally end the timer. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has something to do with the text box, but it's also not every text box. Only specific text box will end the timer. I don't know all the details. This is a really weird trick. So what I'm doing right now, I went back as a child with Bottle on B for something later, but right now you can still see I have the timer.
Yep.
Normally, I don't think there's a way to get a timer as a child. Not like this. No trade item has a timer as a child, I think.
Could you, go to the Bolero of Fire or anything like that? Or whatever it was called? Death Mountain Crater or something? And get the timer there?
Oh, you'll have... That's a lava timer for dying, but there's nothing where it'll warp you away.
Oh, yeah.
Trade item will. Now what I'm doing here is I have to leave... Or I have to come into Hyrule Field from Gerudo Valley. I have to specifically do that. And what happens is, we're here where the Song of Time, or the Ocarina of Time cutscene happens. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get as close to that trigger as possible, and then step into it, and play Serious Song right when at the same moment I step into it. And what happens is that it triggers that text box I was talking about.
Yep.
And I'll basically run out the timer at the same moment that I enter the Ocarina of Time cutscene. And this is a totally different wrong warp. And do you have any idea where it's going to take me?
I have no idea, actually.
So the text box comes up. This is really tough to get. Basically, I trigger the text box, leave, and it warps me into... Can you tell? Tell me when you know what cutscene this is.
This is after the bottom of the well?
This is the Nocturne of Shadow cutscene. So, no one mentioned it or anything, but I specifically didn't RBA the Nocturne when I was doing the RBA. The Poacher Saw can give you the Nocturne, but I specifically didn't get it. I RBA'd with a fish instead of bugs, even though I mentioned that bugs are always better. Yeah. That's because I wanted to show that you can get it as a child this way.
So if you actually do get the Nocturne of Shadow and then do this warp, where does it put you? Does it put you in this cutscene?
It's still this cutscene. Oh, I don't know if you trigger this cutscene and then warp into this cutscene. I don't know what happens there. But if you just RBA the song, you'll still go into this cutscene.
Okay.
So this is another version of the wrong warp. And this time I actually used, instead of where the frog takes you back, I went over. I did it quickly, but I actually overwrote the frog with a bottle, and that makes it basically an invalid trade item. And when the timer runs out on an invalid trade item, it just reloads the area that you were in. It puts you back to the last entrance, which was Gerudo Valley. Coming into Hyrule Field from Gerudo Valley.
So clearly, this is you're in Gerudo Valley right now, getting the Nocturne Shadow.
So I'm in Hyrule Field, I think, or that's where it tried to take me. Coming from Gerudo Valley, that entrance.
Well, okay.
And so when it tries to teleport you back there and enter the Ocarina of Time cutscene, at the same time, it warps you into the Nocturne.
Got it.
So, very complicated glitch. This took me a long time to get because leaving at the exact moment that you need to leave Serious Song text box is very hard, and it takes a long time to set up. So I was a bit frustrating, and if you noticed on the way there, I was making a lot of mistakes. But for now.
Well, congratulations! You can get into the Shadow Temple now. And
yeah, I could totally do the Shadow Temple. So, but yeah, a really complicated trick. I think it's a really neat trick that doesn't actually have very much use. And that'll be the end of this episode.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, it looks like you got a fun romp to do next time.
Yeah, next time we'll be doing the Water Temple, so everyone look forward to that. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Okay.